At least 16 people, including a city mayor, were killed as Israel carried out dozens of strikes on Hezbollah targets, causing widespread destruction.
Right, Shivan, and the destruction was caused in several areas of Lebanon on Wednesday. The IDF airstrike on Nabathie municipal headquarters is the biggest attack on an official Lebanese state building since the start of the Israel campaign. Lebanese officials denounced the strike, which also wounded more than 50 people, saying it was proof that Israel's offensive against Hezbollah was now shifting to target the Lebanese state.
The Israeli military said it destroyed a tunnel network which was used by Hezbollah militants in the area of Mahibeb, a town in southern Lebanon. The army said in a statement that the troops conducted targeted raids on a large network of underground infrastructure and tunnel shafts that included living quarters and armories and found a large quantity of weaponry.
Earlier, UNIFIL said that the Israeli army forces fired at one of its positions in South Lebanon, though the Israeli army clarified, issuing a statement that it was not targeting UNIFIL infrastructure sites and forces in Lebanon, but rather the Hezbollah militants there.
In the latest, Hezbollah said it destroyed another Israeli tank near the Lebanese border with a guided missile after close combat with Israeli troops staging incursions in the area. The militant group said it had targeted another tank in a similar strike near a border village on Wednesday.
In northern Israel, meanwhile, IDF's air defense systems were triggered and shot up on Wednesday night. About 30 seconds later, footage showed a blast on the ground along with echoing sirens.
In southern Israel, the Al-Quds brigades, the armed wing of the Palestinian Islamic Jihad movement, said it fired rockets towards Terot and Niram areas, while the IDF said 2 projectiles that crossed from the northern Gaza Strip were intercepted. Meanwhile, Washington said it wants Israel to take further action on the humanitarian situation in Gaza. The US acknowledged Israel's initial steps, such as approving new warehouses and staging facilities for the UN and other aid groups, but emphasized that the US expects tangible results, including more trucks delivered.
So we have seen them taking initial steps over the past several days, but of course the proof will be in the pudding ultimately, and we want to see them take additional steps, and we want to see ultimately the results change, and the results will be more trucks coming in, more food getting in, more water getting in, and civilians having the basic needs that they require to go about their daily lives.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu convened an emergency meeting on Wednesday to discuss expanding humanitarian aid to Gaza. The Prime Minister's Security Cabinet is now expected to discuss the matter further on Sunday.
Furthermore, the United States told the UN Security Council Washington is watching to ensure that Israel's actions on the ground show that it does not have a policy of starvation in the northern Gaza Strip.
Quote-unquote policy of starvation in northern Gaza would be horrific and unacceptable and would have implications under international law and U.S. law. The government of Israel has said that this is not their policy, that food and other essential supplies will not be cut off, and we will be watching to see that Israel's actions on the ground match this statement.
Meanwhile, Qatar's Prime Minister said on Wednesday that there has been no conversations on engagement with any parties for the last 3 to 4 weeks to secure a ceasefire in Gaza. Sheikh Mohammed, who is also the foreign minister, has led the mediation efforts for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas so far.
Unfortunately, we've seen that the efforts being hindered in the past few weeks, and basically in the last 3 to 4 weeks, there is no conversation or engagement at all, and we are just moving in the same circle with the silence from all parties. And this is unfortunate.
And for more on this, our correspondent Susan Tehrani has sent us this report from New York. Take a look.
The United Nations Security Council met to discuss the Gaza crisis amid intense military operations by Israel, as well as civilian casualties. The United States warned Israel against what it called a policy of starvation, deeming it unacceptable under international law. However, Israel's UN ambassador Danny Danon accused Hamas of hijacking aid. 38 humanitarian organizations have condemned Israel's actions as being, quote unquote, a horrifying level of atrocity. The United States, first President Biden and then the ambassador here at the UN, threatened potential restrictions on military aid if Israel fails to improve the humanitarian situation in Gaza. Now, with international pressure mounting, Israel faces a critical juncture, balancing security concerns with humanitarian obligations. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World is One.